CCTV footage depicted the brutal abduction of Brendan Vollmost.
They're all lies. They know where he is. They all do.
This was her son, 23-year-old Brendan Vollmost, running for his life in March 2015.
To get away from a number of men clambering over a fence at his South Windsor home.
An inquiring neighbour punched as his killers carry him away.
What I seen and the way I seen him get carried out, never be able to forget that.
You know, because he was an amazing kid and went down the wrong track.
Good evening. 4 men are behind bars tonight.
Please search warrant, open the door!
Neighbours shocked.
A group that call themselves the Blood Brothers.
A hung jury last year heard the men were only defending themselves.
The two juries were unable to reach a verdict on whether they murdered Mr. Vollmost.
I think it's just crap. At the end of the day, they are coming home. There is a light at the end of their tunnel.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Today I want to talk about what happened to Brendan Vollmost, affectionately known to his friends and family as Volley. The reason why I found this case interesting is not only because everything was kind of caught on camera, but also because despite the fact that it was caught on camera, there were 2 hung juries and Brendan has never been found, although a lot of people think they know what happened to Brendan. So as usual here on my channel, I'm going to give you guys the facts. We'll talk about the theories and then you can decide for yourself. Thank you to my subscribers. And if you are new here, hi, I wear a tinfoil hat. I talk about true crime and conspiracies. Get it? With all that being said, let's dive in. So the whole thing started 6 years ago in Sydney, Australia. The last time anyone saw Brendan was on March 31st, 2015 in the evening when an incident took place at his home on Cox Street in the South Windsor area. In the days and weeks following his disappearance, police told the public what they think happened to him. Brendan was in a car and then there was another car and that car rammed into the back of him at an intersection. He was kind of trying to get away from that car and that's why you see him kind of like they rushed to his house and he's dangling out.
In this backyard shed of his South Windsor home, they bashed him and took him away. His body has never been found.
His girlfriend, who was living with him at the time, was at the home at this time as well. The detective said, quote, "We haven't been able to find Brendan and in an unusual type of appeal, we're actually releasing the CCTV images. What you'll find with the images, they're very graphic, they're confronting, and above all, they're very distressing. Really, it depicts the last moments in Brendan Vollmost's life. There is no audio in this footage. You see a car quickly pull up. It's being followed by another car and you see people are running, chasing someone, and then you see that car when it pulled up. Look, that's Brendan. He hops out, jumps, swings open, they follow him. There's someone else in his car trying to come out. One of the people following him's like, we later find out that he's threatening him and basically not letting him get out of this car. Who knows what is happening inside? The dog runs out. Oh, that's fucked up. Then another person runs in and you know, you can still see one of these people saying something to the person that's in the car that Brendan was in. Something is happening over there. This guy is just waiting. Okay, somebody's coming. Okay, one person comes back out and then they kind of switch positions. This guy seems to be making sure the guy in the car doesn't come out. That is crazy. Something's going on back there. So this is the door. This gate leads to Brendan's backyard. So another person comes out. So there's 2 men that were pursuing him that are still in there, and obviously Brendan is there, and it looked like there was someone else who ran in there too. So there are about 4 people still in that shed, I think. And it cuts to a neighbor. This is a neighbor who was coming to see what was going on. He gets socked in the face, and then you see two people carrying like a limp body. There is a section of this footage that the police didn't release, and that is right after the last part. So when they're holding a limp body, the two people that are carrying someone, they put Brendan, that's who that limp body is according to police, they put Brendan in the white car that they were in when they were following him, and that's it. Nobody has seen the car since, and nobody has seen Brendan since. They think that basically Brendan is dead. That's what the police think. Quote, the indicators are that he hasn't used his bank accounts or his social media accounts or his phones. He hasn't made any contact with the family. So the family, they came out, the mom, the girlfriend, the cousin, it was so sad.
Brendan's heartbroken mother, Tammy.
I just want to look him in the face, and if I can, I want to ask him why. Why?
A sentiment echoed by Brendan's girlfriend, Jennifer, who's also desperate for answers.
Getting Brendan's body back is all we want, really. They're nothing to us.
I'm Jodie Ferris, and I am Brendan Volley's cousin. We were really close. We were born 2 days apart, a day apart. He'd give you the shirt off his back even if that was the last thing he had. He was 23 years old. He didn't get a chance to have a family. You know, nothing.
They were getting some anonymous tips at this point, and all the information that they were getting them was leading them to the conclusion that these four guys were part of a group known as the Blood Brothers.
A group that call themselves the Blood Brothers.
Little is known about this group. We certainly don't think they're some type of major crime network, Detective Inspector Oxford said. It's more what we think is just a group of males, a group of friends that have come together and called themselves Blood Brothers. They're a group that are involved in drug activity. All they have to go on is this Blood Brothers connection and a vehicle, a white Hyundai i30.
The crucial thing to this whole case is obviously finding Brendan's body and also the car that he was abducted in, believed to be a white i30 Hyundai.
There's damage to the front of the bumper because remember that car rammed into the car Brendan was in, so they were asking any kind of like car repair places or shops if they've seen this type of vehicle with this kind of damage to reach out to police. And then there was a break in the case.
Good evening. 4 men are behind bars tonight.
The sun was rising as heavily armed police smashed their way into the suspects' homes.
CCTV footage previously provided depicted the brutal abduction and murder of Brendan Vollmost from Cox Street in South Windsor on 31st of March this year.
Police search warrant over the door!
Leading to the identity of 4 persons involved in this crime. The 4 persons that have been arrested will all be charged with murder and will appear today before the Mount Druitt and the Blacktown Court. At this stage, I'm not prepared to go into any specific details of the investigation. That material will be provided to the court today in way of a fact sheet.
The 4 Blood Brothers that were charged with Brendan's murder were Jack Davies, aka Captain, Jamie Michael Tilley, aka Coach, William Patrick Thomas, aka Medium, Mitchell James Bentley, aka Smallsy,
were taken to police stations across Sydney's west and northwest. 2 of the men were arrested at this house in Irby Place at Quakers Hill. Neighbours shocked the raids were linked to a murder investigation.
Wow.
Although they were getting tips from the public, they weren't getting as much as they would have liked. When they would ask certain people who they were told to contact from other people, those people would say, I'm afraid to talk to you because these people are still free, they're crazy, we saw the footage, like we don't want any part of this.
There was a lot of people who had concerns because the 4 individuals had not been arrested. Time has now changed. They're in custody and we'd like to again speak to anybody who may have some information.
These people may be in jail, but I see it. They're still here. Their families still get to go and see them. We don't even get to go and see him.
I just reaching out to the community to ask for your help to bring my son home. Just to help me move along. I wouldn't wish this on anyone because the pain never goes away. So please, if you can help me, just ring Crime Stoppers. Doesn't matter how little or how big it is. just help me bring him home. He's my flesh and blood. I bring him up on my own. It'd feel so much better to have him where we could go visit him. And then I can tell my kids that's where he is and he'll always be with us. Yes, he used to get in a lot of trouble, but doesn't a lot of people, but doesn't deserve to die for it.
But still, no Brendan. They thought that Brendan's body was in Dorigo. So it was in Dorigo, right? As that was going on and they were trying to find the body, it was now time for the trial, and this is where things get weird. All four of them pled not guilty.
The defence is claiming self-defence, that Vollmost pulled a gun on them.
They did not deny that it was them on the footage and that they were there. No, they didn't deny any of that. What they said was what you don't see off camera was that what we did in self-defense. And the prosecution laid it all out. This is what they said. The Blood Brothers, right, they were engaged in drug dealing activity, and it seems like Brendan was too, but he was a lower level, so I guess they supplied Brendan, and then Brendan would do like the legwork with the customers, and they were more like behind the scenes, and that their relationship was amicable and everything was fine, but that they were actively pursuing and looking for him in the days leading up to his disappearance. And the reason why they were looking for him is because he owed them money. The prosecutor said that the footage shows Davies, that's Captain, the first person running after Mr. Vollmost, carrying a black object, which the Crown said was some sort of weapon such as an extendable baton. Then it was time for the defense. Once all the men were in the backyard and then into the shed, that Brendan pulled out a gun. He pulled out a gun, and that they ended up hitting him as severely as they did in self-defense because he pulled out a gun, and that they didn't have guns. So Captain and Smallsy are the ones who run into and are there the longest in the backyard. They say that when Brendan went in the backyard and they followed him, he grabbed a firearm and he pointed it at Captain. When Smallsy saw Brendan point the gun at Captain, he struck Brendan, which that strike knocked him to the ground, and then it, according to the injuries that the prosecution revealed, is that he had several severe blows and that some of them were done when he was cowering. So I don't know how self-defense-y that is. The other thing that they disputed was that they said that Brendan did not owe them money. Obviously that doesn't look good. If you're, hitting someone that owes you money, then people are going to think you did it because they owe you money. So they're like, no, it was self-defense. Well, he didn't owe them any money at all. Then they were like, Brendan had a reputation for violence and everybody knew this, and that they were, they were afraid, which is interesting because if you look at the footage, it seems like he's terrified of them, running for his life. But anyway, and then Brendan's friend took the stand. The friend who ran in to the shed after him to try to help him, that friend is called Ronald Byrons. The defense also accused Ronald of attempting to arm himself. So they were saying that both of them were trying to shoot them as they were chasing them into their home after hitting them with their car, which to me seems like, if anything, even if Brendan and Ronald shot the two guys that were chasing them, that would have been in self-defense, potentially, arguably, but the defense is arguing the opposite. So anyway, so Ronald takes the stand, and this is what he has to say. He was in the shed with Brendan. He got punched. He got knocked out. He said that he was punched in the face by a man with a, quote, footballer's build, and that when he gained consciousness, he lay still, so he like play dead. He saw that the shed was covered in blood, and he could hear male voices. Quote, I heard them say, is that all he's got? And get him in the car, he's still fucking breathing. He said that in the weeks and days leading up to Brendan's disappearance, Brendan confided in him that he did owe the Blood Brothers money, that he was afraid of them, and he did get a shotgun. They were dealing in the drug ice, which I think is like their way of saying meth, and so he traded ice for a shotgun, and he had that shotgun in the shed. And when his friend Ronald saw the shotgun and asked him about it, he told him like, I got this to protect myself from the Blood Brothers. and that I owe them this money. They're mad about it and they're coming to get me. He said that he owed them $6,000. So now we're in a situation where, is it plausible that Brendan took the gun and pointed it? I mean, his friend said that he had a gun in the shed. These people were following him. Maybe he did do that. Okay, was that self-defense on Brendan's part? Or when the gun is pulled at the people with no gun who are being the aggressors, is it self-defense on their part? Interesting question. I don't know. You tell me. The reason why we even have footage of this is because Brendan was so afraid of the Blood Brothers that he installed security cameras and he had them like a feed to his phone, his devices, and he was constantly monitoring. He was paranoid that they were out to get him, and it turns out that they were. So then the trial was over and it was time for the jury to deliberate. They deliberated for 3 weeks, but they could not reach a verdict. They came out, it was a hung jury, and back where we started, nobody's happy. Everyone's kind of left in limbo. Oddly enough, a year after this hung jury, the Blood Brothers confessed.
It's been 4 years of torment for Tammy Slade. Finally, some relief as the 4 so-called Blood Brothers pleaded guilty. She couldn't bring herself to speak on camera today, struggling with how smug the 4 looked as they appeared on video link from jail, even as they owned up to the crime. Not only did the 4 men plead guilty to the unlawful killing of Brendan Vollmost, they also admitted to concealing his corpse. A new trial was due to begin early next year. Instead, they'll be sentenced in October.
It seems like they took a deal to a lesser charge of manslaughter, and Captain Davies, he spoke out and gave some more evidence, some more details. He said that he cannot give Brendan's parents any closure by telling them where the body is, because he doesn't know where the body is, because he put it in a car that was supposed to be scrapped, and that car went to some junkyard somewhere, and he has no idea where the car or Brendan's body are.
He was placed in a large toolbox. I loaded up the back of the ute and took it to a scrap metal yard, a yard in Penrith where the ute was put through the crusher. There was a machine literally pressing down on the roof as I was about to leave, Jack Davies told his murder trial. But detectives will search the scrap metal yard, the evidence overwhelming for his mother, who ran out of the courtroom in tears.
He said, Brendan had been at my house for some time. I just wanted the problem gone. The station wagon presented an opportunity. So he had Brendan's body in this toolbox. Captain decided to take it to a scrap metal yard, hiding it in the back of a dark station wagon due to be scrapped. And then they were convinced that they were going to get caught. So they went and took the Hyundai and they said they cut it up, they sliced it, and they buried it in some national park. The prosecution did not believe him.
I meant to say the judge, not the prosecution. Sorry.
They were like, no, you're just coming up with a story to hide where the body actually is. Like, you know where it is, tell us where it is. His response to that was that it made no sense to be sentenced for an additional charge and not give closure to Vollmost's mother. And he said, the body is effing gone and I can't bring it back. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I'm not a thief. I'm not a murderer. Interesting. He said that he didn't intend to actually kill Brendan. It's just that he hit him and then he went limp and that was it. He said that he was, quote, truly sorry to Brendan's family, especially his younger siblings. And he said, I'm just so sorry that we're here today because of me. And then it was time for the sentencing.
A grieving mother has slammed the 11-year sentence handed to 4 men. She's also heartbroken. The men won't reveal where Brendan Vollmost's body was taken.
I think it's just crap. What, you can just murder somebody and then just get that sentence? It's just not right.
Brendan Vollmost's family agrees the law should change.
After what I've been through, and probably a lot of other people are going through, that haven't got their loved ones, it should be life.
After 2 juries were unable to reach a verdict on whether they murdered Mr. Vollmost, Jamie Tilley, Mitchell Bentley, William Thomas and Jack Davies were today jailed for manslaughter.
At the end of the day, they are coming home. There is a light at the end of their tunnel.
This is where people were also upset because they got a sentence of 15 years with a non-parole period of 11 years, but with time served, it was more like 6 or 7 years.
With time already served, they could be free in just 7 years.
During the sentencing, the judge said that he found it very upsetting that they still didn't say where the body was. He said he didn't believe the story that only Davies aka Captain, knew where the body was. He said that they were close, they were like family or blood brothers. I don't believe that only one of you knows what happened to the body and then that one person really can't tell us where it is.
Justice Harrison said Mr. Vollmost's remains would probably never be found, and the man's refusal to help avoid that dismal reality increased the seriousness of their crime. The judge referred to the CCTV as he dismissed any suggestion the men acted in self-defence. He also rejected their claims Mr. Vollmost's body was taken to a scrap metal yard.
He also found it simply unbelievable that only 2 of the friends knew what happened to his remains. Quote, all of the offenders were close to each other. They considered themselves to be family. Brendan's mom came out and she said that she never had a chance to say goodbye. There's no place for her to go visit. There's no way to lay his body to rest. There's no grave that they can go to, that they can tell the siblings this is where your brother is and pay their respects, and you know, they don't have that. And she was very upset because oddly enough, she found out, Brendan's mom, that one of the 4 blood brothers actually got released for a day to go to his grandfather's funeral. And she found that to be so upsetting because he got to do, they allowed him to do the very thing that they are denying her from doing, right? They can go visit their loved ones and pay their respects, but she can't. So I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think this is an accident that just spiraled out of control like the blood brothers say? Or do you think this was something far more brutal? Is this self-defense? You know, how does that work? If you're pursuing someone and they pull out a gun, are you now in self-defense or are they in self-defense? What's more threatening, right? I don't know. It's because like, are you a deadly weapon? I mean, clearly they're a deadly weapon with their hands enough. They killed him with their bare hands. I don't know, but then there was a baton. I don't know. I mean, how does that work? Very interesting. I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Good day, mate. I don't mind.